Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today we're talking about different strokes for different folks. That is products I don't care for that other people seem to really like. My channel, a very special welcome to you. I hope you will consider subscribing before you leave if you like what you see today. It's free, it's easy, and it helps you find my videos when I upload Tuesday through Friday. So like I said, different strokes for different folks. Disclaimer, if you like these products or these types of products, I am so happy for you, but the point of this video is just to enlighten ourselves of the fact that some people like different things than other people. We all have preferences, we all have favorites, and we all have things that just don't work for us, for our skin type, for our preferences, for our skin tone. So let's go ahead and get into it. I have 5 specific products and then 5 different types of products that just don't trip my trigger for one reason or another. So the first one is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. I really like the blush in this line, but the bronzer I just didn't find to be so special to get the kind of hype that it did on YouTube, especially when it first came out. I just didn't find it to be all that great. It's a matte bronzer, which is fine, but I have matte bronzers that far surpass this e.l.f. infused bronzer, even at a more reasonable price. So that one, I don't know, I think partially it was the tone of the bronzer, and I know they have different shades, but all of the tones looked pretty yellowy or orangey, and that's just not my jam. I prefer closer to a neutral bronzer than anything, or something with a rosy or red undertone is very perfect for my skin. So I just couldn't get on board with the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. I went ahead and passed that on to my stepmom when she asked for a little makeup lesson, and I gave her some products to take home with her. So I'm glad that somebody else is getting use out of it because it just didn't work out for me. I felt like it was hard to blend also and just kind of came out patchy on the skin. So that's okay because I have a lot of other bronzers that I love. The second product is something we don't hear as much about anymore, but it is a product that for those who like the product are die-hard fans of the product. In fact, I used to be quite a die-hard fan of the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. It isn't a favorite at all anymore, and we'll get more into why later, but specifically the IT Cosmetics CC Cream product just got to the point where it felt so thick and so heavy on my skin, and while it was like nourishing and kind of dewy and hydrating, it just felt too heavy on the skin for me. I don't know how I used to love it, if I'm being honest, because now I feel quite the opposite. I strongly dislike the product. I haven't tried the matte or the illuminating products from the line, but the regular IT CC Cream, I went through a sample and then I went through most of a tube, and then I decided to declutter it because I just couldn't make it work for me. I think part of it is that my skin changed, and most of it is that my preferences changed. So that's one I'm just not a fan of anymore. I think it looks beautiful, specifically on people who have a drier, normal to dry skin type. But for me and my combo oily skin, I felt like it sat on top. It felt very heavy and makeup-y, and by the end of the day, I'm like, get it off of my face. I think the same goes for this next product specifically. It's the Drunk Elephant Umbra Tint Sunscreen. I'll put a picture up, of course, but I got a good size sample of this, like a deluxe or a mini size in a sunscreen kit last year in 2019, and I really wanted to like this. Number one, it's Drunk Elephant. And number 2, it's a tinted sunscreen, which I'm really into because more often than not during the warmer months when I'm spending more time outside, I don't wear foundation. And so I do like the idea of a little bit of a tint. One, to take away any white cast that might be there, but also just to even out the skin tone a little bit. And then once I put all the rest of my products on, you really can't tell that I'm wearing not wearing foundation rather. This product, however, never absorbed into my skin. And again, I say this is a case of, I think this is more appropriate for those with normal to dry skin. My girl Angela over at Beauti By Angela, I'll link her down below. She loves this product, and I think the other people that I've seen who really love this product, like Kackie loves reviews or whatever her name is, she also likes the umber tint, and she also has very dry skin. So I think this was just a case of it wasn't the right product for my skin type, which again is combo to oily, especially during the warmer months. And I was really kind of bummed that this didn't work out for me, but hallelujah, I did find my perfect sunscreen, and you've heard me speak on it before possibly. This is the Cotz Face Moisture Lightly Tinted Sunscreen, SPF 35, Hydrate and Protect Mineral Sunscreen. And this is perfect on so many levels. It gives the hydration I need, gives the SPF that I need. It's tinted, so it evens out the skin tone, and it does have dimethicone in it, and the dimethicone actually helps blur my pores, as well as when I do wear a foundation or a BB cream or something of the like, it acts like a primer. So when I put my makeup on top, it looks smoother and whatnot. I'm wearing it today with my favorite BB cream, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I'm really glad I found this one. My friend Kelly from GlamWithKelly turned me on to this product, and I have since turned several other people on to this product who also love it. It's just the perfect sunscreen for me. This one's almost gone, and I have another one on deck because I'm not going to be without this. This is my perfect thing. And then last, I have 2 very famous, very cult favorite blush. And you know how much I love blush that I don't like as much as other people seem to like. I have them in my collection, 1, because it's in a palette that I love, and 2, because it's a cult favorite, and I kind of like keeping it around for drugstore get ready with me's and things like that. But the first one, I know I'm not the only one on this one, so we'll go with that one first. So the first blush that I don't love that a lot of people do is NARS Orgasm. This is the Makeup Your Mind palette, and this is the blush. I decluttered a mini of this blush at one point because I just couldn't make it work. I don't know what it is about this blush other than I don't like the texture. I mean, I don't know. It's so weird. It's very sheer, which isn't necessarily a deal breaker, but it's got this weird texture because this shade Luster, which is part of what I have on my cheeks today, is very similar. It's an apricot shade, but it does have that golden sort of shift or highlight to it. And while it's sheer, when I put it over a cream blush, it's absolutely stunning. I tried the same thing with the NARS Orgasm shade, and I still didn't like it. While the cream blush did give it more pigment, it just is a different texture. First of all, it almost gets hard pan immediately once you're putting your finger in there or your brush or what have you. But also, it's just kind of this chunky texture. The glitters are larger particles, and so I just feel like it really lays on top of my skin. It gives a really yellow golden glare that's not overly flattering to my skin tone, even though I have a warm skin tone. And I do love a beautiful coral blush, but this just is not one of them. If you have any suggestions, advice, application techniques that you make this blush work for you. I would love to hear that down in the comments because I just can't seem to make it work for me. I know I'm not the only one, but I also know a lot of people, it is like their die-hard holy grail blush, and it just isn't for me. The next one, I'm really scared to admit. It's one, again, that is a cult favorite. You hear about it still. It definitely had its heyday. Most people still have this blush in their collection. And when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty. When I swatch it, oh, gorgeous. But I put it on my skin and I'm just like, meh. I don't reach for it. And it's Milani Luminoso. I'm so sorry if you like this one. It's beautiful. I absolutely love the color of it. It's very similar to the luster shade that I was just telling you about. But for whatever reason, I don't reach for this one. I don't know that I really love the texture of it, and maybe that's part of it. But I do love a beautiful warm blush like this. So this is one I can't quite put my finger on, but I can tell you with 100% certainty I've maybe reached for this blush once in the last year, but I also can't bring myself to declutter it because it is such a favorite. And like I said, it helps fill certain categories when I'm doing a get ready with me or a tutorial and I'm wanting to use drugstore makeup. A lot of my other drugstore blush are pink, so I kind of hang around on this one. I need to give this some more love and just make a decision whether I'm going to keep it for comparison purposes and for YouTube purposes, or if I'm just going to pass it on to someone else who can make use of it before it goes bad. If you can hear yard work in the background, I really have to film, so I apologize if you can hear anything, but I got to like power through and get this video done. So next we're going to talk about 5 types of products that I do not care for that other people use all the time. And again, if you use these things, you love these things, I think that's fantastic. I think these things are great for other people, and I like the look of them on other people, but for me, these are not my favorite things. And the first thing I'm going to say is primer in general. I use primer when it's going to serve a purpose for me. For example, I have a couple of matte primers that I really love. I use these when I need my makeup either to stay on all day, or if I'm going to be wearing makeup and I know I'm going to be out in the heat and whatnot like that. Whatnot like that? Okay. So, you know, these are good matte primers and I love those. But going backwards a little bit, my favorite primer that I wear absolutely every day, not a primer at all. You would have seen me talk about this and how much of a beautiful primer it is in my top 5 primer video. But I also talked about this in my Shop My Stash video for this month for the products I would immediately repurchase if all of my makeup disappeared. And this is great. Like I said earlier, this serves as my moisturizer, my sunscreen, and my primer. It's 2 less layers than if I would put all of those things on separately, which I really appreciate because I do like my makeup to feel lightweight and comfortable. So I don't really love primers. I have some, and I do think certain ones serve a certain purpose. But like, for example, I have a couple of luminous primers that I just don't reach for because when I want to be luminous, I wear a luminous bronzer or a luminous blush or a luminous highlight because I'm going to be putting those products on my face anyways. So I don't feel the need to have that extra layer of luminosity under my foundation if I'm wearing any. And then I do like the Tatcha Silk Canvas if my face is just feeling really textured, or I want to feel really bougie and apply makeup for a night out or a special occasion. I do like this because I do feel like it just makes my skin look better, but on an everyday basis, it's not something that I reach for because I feel like my sunscreen does it all. And while we're talking about complexion, I may as well tell you that another thing I don't love is foundation. This is actually really good foundation, and I do wear foundation. I wear it for special occasions. Sometimes I wear it for filming if I want a really blank canvas to be able to show you a tutorial or things like that. But overall, I don't love foundation. I much prefer either a BB cream or a tinted moisturizer if I'm going to wear either. More often than not, specifically during the warmer months, I'm more likely to just use concealer and use that under my eyes, as well as concealing any dark spots or, you know, discoloration, things like that, that, you know, make me feel less confident on my face. And then I'm on my way. I powder my face and I put the rest on, and that's how I roll. But I do really love these. I love the Missha BB cream. It's long wearing, it's perfecting, it has a ton of good sunscreen and other skincare benefits in it. In fact, I just bought 2 new bottles because this one is getting very low, so I bought this, another bottle of this, which is shade number 23, and then I also picked up shade number 27 because my skin is starting to deepen as I'm out in the beautiful warm northern Colorado weather. And then this one's really good as well. This is from First Aid Beauty. It's the Ultra Repair Tinted Moisturizer, Broad Spectrum SPF 30, Natural Luminous Finish. I like this one too. This one I feel like really absorbs into the skin like a skincare. So that's one thing I really like about this one. It's very, very light coverage, as the name would suggest. It is a tinted moisturizer. So I like this, and I do wear both of these over my Cotz SPF. But the next product that I'm not in love with, I've tried it several times and it is just not for me, is brow pomade. First of all, I strongly dislike doing anything with my brows. I do because people look at them 4 days a week on the internet, but it's just not my jam. I've tried and I've tried. It just doesn't look natural. I don't think it's a learning curve thing for me. I feel like it's more of a preference thing. And my preference is just to use a micro brow pencil and or a tinted brow gel. This one has fibers in it, so it does make my brows look a little bit more fluffy. Sometimes I use like just these, but the brow product that I've been digging so much lately is the Patrick Ta Major Brow Wax Shaping Wax, and I got the tinted version. I feel like this tinted version would work for most hair colors, so just putting that out there. But they also have a clear version. I like this because it adds tint and it adds hold as well. And so sometimes I'll just put pencil underneath like I did today and then go in with the brow wax. Other days when I'm feeling really lazy, I'll go through my brows with the fiber tinted brow gel and then set it with this, or set it with a clear brow gel if I have one. This happens to be the Anastasia one, but I'm just lazy about my brows, and pomade is just so high maintenance. I've also tried filling in my brow with eyeshadow, and I definitely prefer that to a pomade, but pomades, man, it just seems like such a hassle.
So you gotta dip your brush in there, and then you gotta like kind of put it off on your hand a little bit or in the cap, and it's messy and dipping in and the whole thing. I just, nah.
The next thing I'm really not in love with is pressed glitters. I think they're so pretty, don't get me wrong, and I do, if I'm going to wear pressed glitter, I have the Tati Textured Neutrals Volume 1, and I do find those glitters to be more superior than most pressed glitters that I have tried. But I just, even with a glitter glue, I end up with fallout on my face. And not only that, it is inevitable. No matter where I put the glitter, how I apply it, I always use a glitter glue, and yet it always ends up in my eye. And I'm not down with that. It's kind of like coronavirus and leaving your house. Is it really worth the risk? I personally don't think so. I think there's plenty of beautiful metallic shadows. I think there's even shadows out there, for example, like these in the ABH Norvina Volume 1, where they're very chunky and textured and they give the illusion of wearing glitter without actually wearing the glitter that's going to end up in your eyeballs. So that's just me. I know a lot of people like pressed glitters. I know a lot of people, you know, feel comfortable with that. I don't. And like I said, I do wear the ones from the Tati palette, but it's really pretty much special occasions that I'm reaching for those. And then the very last thing that is not my jam, but is definitely a jam for lots and lots and lots of people, is black eyeliner. I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of it. I just feel like it's so stark on my eyes, especially where I like to have a really bright lid shade. I feel like it makes my eyes look squinty and smaller than they actually are, and it's just so dark, and I'm really just not into that. Partially because when I was growing up and living at home, we were not allowed to wear eyeliner. My mom, if we were wanting to wear makeup, it had to be something that enhanced our natural beauty, which I love. I love that my mom put that into our heads at a young age, that makeup was meant to accentuate the beauty that you already have. But we were not allowed to wear eyeliner. So even at that, we weren't allowed to use black mascara. We had to use like black, brown, or brown. So I think, you know, it kind of just started out that I never got into black eyeliner, and now I do wear eyeliner. I'm wearing eyeliner today, but I always wear brown or burgundy or even gray, and that's just who I am. I just don't wear black eyeliner, but I love it on other people. It looks so dramatic and like a beautiful contrast with a bold eye look, or with a smoky eye, or even a glam look. But for me, it's just not my jam. So that's the perfect example of something that works for others that just doesn't work for me and my preferences. And that, my friends, is it. Again, I apologize, even though I don't control the landscaping crew. I apologize if you had to listen of any of the hustle and bustle in the background. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me here today. I just love chatting with you guys. I would love to hear down in the comments if there's anything that you don't love that other people absolutely seem to die for. This kind of thing is very interesting to me, and like I said, different strokes for different folks. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are staying safe and well. Hope you are being kind to others, but most of all to yourself, both mentally and physically. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in my next video real soon.